Probably all aware that Singapore is well known as a place for dividends, given income from dividends here is actually completely tax-free for residents. Now, these dividends don't only come from the likes of the big Singapore banks, but also from Singapore-listed ETFs. And what's the top yielding ETF on the Singapore Exchange right now? According to a recent BT article, it's the Lion OCBC Securities SG Low Carbon Index ETF, which has a whopping dividend yield of 8.2%. Why is it so high? I'm going to break it down for you. Now, on the surface, this ETF actually just tracks the iEdge OCBC Singapore Low Carbon Select 40 Capped Index, but it has a few companies which you wouldn't normally find in a typical Straits Times Index ETF. Two of them are Trip.com and C, both of which are incorporated and have their headquarters in Singapore. C in particular has done well so far this year and is up 40% in 2025. Yes, the ETF does also have quite a few Singapore REITs in it that a Straits Times Index ETF wouldn't have, but that doesn't fully explain the 8.2% yield. If investors actually take a look at the ETF's fact sheet, you'll see that the ETF manager states in the footnotes that the distribution payouts can be changed at the manager's discretion, and crucially that these payouts can be made out of income, capital, or both. In other words, they can use part of the ETF's capital to generate this higher payout, and we can kind of see that in the returns. As of 30th September, the 6-month total return of the ETF, so remember that's the share price return plus dividends, was just over 18%. But if we look at the share price performance during that period, the ETF shares only rose 13.2%. So with substantial positions in the ETF that pay low or no dividends, it's pretty clear to me that the fund manager is likely using at least some of the ETF's capital to fund this monster dividend yield. Finally, it's also important to keep in mind that this 8.2% yield is an indicated yield and can also be distorted by one-off events like special dividends. So there you have it, why the Lion OCBC Securities SG Low Carbon Index ETF has such a high dividend yield. Remember, it's worth digging into the real reasons behind high dividend yields and if they're sustainable in the long term, regardless of whether it's for stocks or ETFs. For more personal finance, investing, and money insights, do give me a follow here or subscribe to my YouTube channel at Tim Talks Money.